Figure A is a scale image of figure B as shown. We have figure A, figure B. The scale that maps figure A onto figure B is 1 to 7 1/4. Enter the value of x. So here's what we're being asked to find. We're asked to find what does x equal. Now they use this term scale and scale image, so I want to define that here. I'm just pasting this from Google Images along with a picture that shows an example. So scale is defined as the ratio that defines the relation between one figure and another figure. So we have a figure A, we have a figure B, and the scale between those is 1 unit on figure A corresponds to 7 1/4 units on figure B. And that makes sense because we see figure B is much bigger than figure A. Upon hearing that, you might notice that this concept is very similar to the idea of a unit rate, and in fact it is the same, because you could also just say 1 unit of figure A corresponds to 7 1/4 units of figure B. That is literally a unit rate. And here's a real life example where you might see this. Here's a model car, an actual one that's for sale, and they advertise this as being a 1 to 16 scale. And what that means is for every 1 unit on this model, that corresponds to 16 units on the actual car. So if something is 1 inch on this model, that would be 16 inches on the actual Ferrari. And it's proportional to the actual Ferrari. So it's the exact same shape, right? It's just shrunk down, and it's a 1 to 16 scale. And now let's jump in and solve this problem. Again, we're asked to find this value of x, and they give us this side, this corresponding side, which is 3 on figure A, and they tell us the relationship between figure A and figure B is a ratio of 1 to 7 1/4. So I'm going to set up that ratio here, and I'm just going to think of this as our unit rate. Very important, as always, to add our labels. So I'm going to say 1 unit of figure A and how to know the 1 corresponding to figure A? Well, look at the order they tell you. Figure A onto figure B is 1 to 7 1/4. So the 1 represents figure A and 7 1/4 represents figure B. And again, that just makes sense. You can see figure B is much bigger. 1 unit of figure A corresponds to 7 1/4 units of figure B. And we're now asked to find, what about the case when figure A has a side that is 3 units? What would the corresponding side on figure B be? So what can we do to this ratio, or this unit rate, however you'd like to think of it, it's the same thing, to arrive at a case where figure A is 3 units? Well, can't we just multiply this by 3? And that'll give us 3 units of figure A. And what you do to the top, you must also do to the bottom to keep the ratio equivalent. So this gives us 3 units figure A. And this bottom will be 7 1/4 times 3. So let's come down here so we can actually do some math, and then we'll come back and fill that in. So 7 1/4, we're going to need to change that to an improper fraction. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 1 is 29. The denominator stays the same, so that becomes 29 over 4 times 3. And it's easy for me to write this as 3 over 1 to help me multiply straight across. 4 times 1 is 4. 29 times 3 Let's find out what that is. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 87. So now we can jump back in here and fill this. So this is 87 over 4 units on figure B. So given that initial ratio of 1 unit of figure A corresponds to 7¼ units of figure B, we multiplied the top and the bottom by 3 to now say that 3 units of figure A must correspond to 87 over 4 units of figure B. And by this point, we could actually type this in to our computer and we'd be done, right? Because these sides correspond, we were asked to find this x here. 3 units of figure A will correspond to 87 over 4 units of figure B. Let's also write this 87 over 4 as a mixed number in case there was like a multiple choice and we had to identify it. So let's convert this to a mixed number as well. 4 will go into 87. Well, I know 4 times 20 is 80. Let's see what 4 times 21 is. It's going to give us 84. And we can't add any more than that without going over. So that'll work. So it's going to be 4 goes into 87 21 times with 3 left over because 87 minus 84 is a remainder of 3. And if I wanted to check to make sure I did that right, I could just multiply this back. 4 times 21 is 84, plus 3 is 87, 87 over 4. And yes, it's correct. So either of these answers would give you full credit.